Hello, everybody. I'm Lori Jovast with Pop Speed Digital Marketing, and I'm here with our third in command, Kylie Metcalf. And we have a hot take on today's Hot Take Tuesday, hotter than usual, right?
Yes, I would say
Oh,
so.
God. Everybody's talking about it. And I think that's kind of what the individual in charge kind of wants us to do. But today we are going to talk about Elon Musk and Twitter/X. I'm always going to call it Twitter. I was there 15 years before he bought it. I'm always going to call it Twitter. I can't help myself. Do you call it Twitter or do you call it X, Kylie?
Oh, I still call it Twitter. I'll always call it Twitter.
The bird was so much nicer than the X. So tell us what we're going to talk about.
So we are going to talk a little bit about it has not gone into effect yet, but it's kind of, as Lori said, taken the social media world by storm this morning. Elon Musk is going to kill blocking as we know it on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. In our opinion, this is a little bit crazy. So we're going to cover today what it is to block somebody, what it's meant in the past, and in our opinion, what it should mean going forward. What it looks like for users and advertisers for the blocking
Mhm.
feature to be totally shifted. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how Twitter has come to be X and what those real differences are, and how this, in our opinion, just really falls into another negative category of the direction that the platform's going in.
Yeah, absolutely. So blocking, you've probably done this.
Right.
Most of us have encountered someone on social media that was so negative or so crazy that we chose to block them. And what that means is you hit that block button, they can't see anything you do on that channel. That's it. They're done. You don't see them, they don't see you. It's kind of like moving to a new neighborhood or, putting
Right.
having a security guard, right? And it's a really important feature because people do get irate. And just like in general population, the general population on social media, you're going to have some crazies.
Yeah.
And if you've never personally gotten chased around the internet by somebody who didn't like something you said, it's not a fun experience. It's not a happy feeling. And so blocking people, it's considered a safety feature, right? And
Yeah.
that is why we think it's really important because if I don't feel safe on a platform, I'm not going to be on that platform. And as an advertiser and marketer, a lot of people have exited Twitter because of the negative things that are happening over there.
Yeah.
And I've stayed on it. I've been on there for, oh God, 16 years. And I've blocked several people because they were being, very vulgar or attacking, that kind of thing. And you just block them and it just goes away and you move on. So, yeah, go ahead. Kylie, I'll let you talk about this one. We kind of feel like Elon Musk has killed the bird.
Yeah. Kill
He
the
has
bird.
really done some negative things.
Yeah. So essentially, what this feature, like what the block feature, according to Elon Musk, is going to turn into is, as it exists now, you block somebody on a social platform. What Lori said, you can't see them, they can't see you, can't engage with each other, nothing. Like
Right.
ultimately, you cease to exist to one another on the platform. The update, as it's been laid out in the last day or so, is that you still will not be able to engage with one another, but the person that you have blocked will still be able to see your public content.
Yeah.
So, of course, the most important thing is that they can't, engage with you and can't comment back and forth with you, and that's priority number one, absolutely.
Right.
However, as you said, Lori, there's still a massive sense of, particularly in like very escalated situations, a sense of safety knowing that that person can no longer see what you are putting out into the social media universe, right?
Right.
And that it's strictly going to people that you want to see it, that you want to engage with. And what's the point of taking away particularly individual users like autonomy and being able to say no? Like, I understand I'm on the internet, but this person has, come after me before, or even
Right.
if you've had like a negative interaction in person and you no longer want them involved in your life in any capacity, even if just on the internet,
Yeah.
there's so many situations that could warrant blocking somebody and wanting them no longer involved in your life in any capacity. And
Mhm.
it just, to us, it just seems very odd more than anything. If you
Yeah.
can't engage with one another, what's the point of allowing them to see your content on a user basis?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, my take on blocking has always been um that if they can't see you, they're more likely to wander off and find somebody else to bully.
Right.
And that is, to me, the sole reason I would use that feature is so that they would stop bullying me. It's Twitter is the only platform I've been bullied on, and that was, I don't remember what I said, I have no idea, but somebody disagreed with me. They went down the rabbit hole, went over to my Work Mom Says podcast website, put some
Hmm.
comments in my comment form there, just really ugly things. Um, Called me fat. Just like, that's the worst thing you can say.
Right.
Just really, but really offensive invasion. Come back to the channel and talk about how awful I am. I don't care about you talking about me, but I don't want to see it. And it feels threatening. And so for someone to be able to see what you're talking about on Twitter,
Hmm.
they'll find another way to get in touch with you if they want to. But if you just
Right.
disappear from their view, it's a lot easier for them to get bored and wander off and bother somebody
Right.
else.
Right.
It's been just amazing to see what Elon has done to Twitter since he bought it in, I think it was April of 2022.
Yep.
And he, besides telling the advertisers to F off if they didn't like what he was doing, he's done tons of other things that just aren't supportive of a healthy social media environment. And so a lot of the advertisers backed off. They went back to the more traditional channels that have moderation teams that control what shows up on the channel, things that are very violent, things that are sexually
Hmm.
inappropriate, that kind of thing. All the other channels have managed that. Twitter
Hmm.
has become a place where you never know when you're going to be scrolling through and see something extremely pornographic.
Hmm.
And again, being able to block those people so that you don't see them in your feed is important.
Right.
But the advertisers and marketers that we work with, very rarely will we suggest they go on Twitter. We have
Yeah.
decided that it's a negative channel. There's some not so great things going on. You never know when your content's going to show up above something pornographic or something that's racist or something that's really offensive. So why put your content there in that environment? Back in the day, when before social media, we would always talk about, if you were going to advertise or place stories, do public relations, you paid attention to the editorial environment of that magazine.
Right.
And that's exactly what we do with social media. We pay attention to where the your material shows up. Do you want it to show up on a platform where things are kind of ugly right now? Right?
Right.
Oof.
Right. I think that's going back to, the negative experience. I think it's important to note that that was recent,
Yeah.
in those 16 years that you've spent on Twitter, to have
Yes.
nearly no negative experiences. And now all of a sudden in the last 2.5 years to have
Yep.
something that, I don't even know what the right word is, because crazy doesn't,
Invasive. Yeah.
invasive, I think is perfect. It's to go as far as to, and I think that's a great point for advertisers too, if somebody, disagrees with XYZ that you've, put out into the X universe, you're as a brand on the platform, your website is out there, which likely
Mhm.
means a contact form is out there. In a lot of cases means an address is out there. And
Mhm.
if you have a negative experience, which, obviously I don't know how many people have had similar experiences, but they've obviously become a lot more frequent in the last 2.5 years and
Yeah.
well accepted. um it's certainly not never happening, excuse my double negative,
Yeah.
but it happens. And for users and for advertisers alike, to not be able to be in control of who is seeing your content is I personally think it's a very negative outcome and very
Yeah.
negative direction for the platform, because you should at the very least be able to have some control over who has access to what you're saying.
Yes. And if people like me in my income level, in my, I'm in a lot of target audiences for advertisers. If more people like us decide not to use the platform, that's
Right.
another thing that happens that's detrimental to advertisers. If,
Right.
your audience is shrinking on that platform, because it is shrinking, and I think this block change to the block functionality will cause it to shrink even further.
Mhm.
The advertisers have a good reason to not go there. And
Yeah.
Linda, I want to talk about Linda Yaccarino for just a second. She's their CEO. If you haven't seen the video that she did, essentially shaming advertisers for not advertising on Twitter, you need to go watch it. It looks like a hostage video to me. Like she is being, she's very obviously uncomfortable, and she's shaming the advertisers and saying that they are doing something illegal by talking to each other and determining that what's on that platform is not good for them in their marketing and walking away from it. And so
Mhm.
Twitter's revenue is shrinking, and rather than changing the things that would bring those advertisers back, they're threatening them, they're shaming them, and they're attacking them. And that is just, I mean, it doesn't bode well for the channel. So,
I think that I
Elon,
just
go ahead.
with that in mind, I think another really important point to make is if you put all of I'm sure, to some degree it goes very much hand in hand, but if you take all of the vulgarity and all of the negativity on the platform away, another key reason we're not recommending it to clients right now is that there's no results. There's
Yeah,
very rarely, unless you had an existing, like a pre-existing following or platform in that space prior to
yeah,
all of these changes. It's a very, very, very difficult nut to crack right now. And
it
so I
is.
just find that it's so ironic to me, all of the conversation about, oh, advertisers, you should be here and leaving is, the wrong choice. There's no results. There's
Yeah,
very, very, very few brands that I would say see like regular results and climbing results when compared
yeah,
to all of the other platforms at our disposal right now.
yeah. It's totally different. But I gotta say, we'll wrap up with this, but there are some really great communities over on Twitter/X, and if you have been on there for decades, or as long as I have, those communities are meaningful. Black Twitter is really strong. There's a huge cancer survivors and cancer community there. There are these communities that make those of us who have been active users for an extended time period, it makes us sad. I mean, I am really sad about what he's done to Twitter, because Twitter could be such a wonderful place to play
Mhm.
for both advertisers and individuals. But he's, what do they say? Everything Elon touches dies. Oops, I didn't say that. Um, Elon just doesn't have the mindset and the business acumen, I think, to handle a social media platform. He's not social enough. He's not putting people first. And putting people first would make a huge difference in how that platform is run. But not happening. Elon's doing what Elon does. Elon owns the platform. He can do whatever he wants, but advertisers can also walk away. So
Right.
that's what we have for you today. I got up this morning, was reading the stories, and I said, Kylie, so we got to talk about. We got to talk about this crazy Twitter/X. And God, Elon, why did you have to kill the bird?
Yeah.
The bird was awesome. We loved it, but it happens. So
Yeah.
you can't always get what you want, right?
Right.
So that's what we've got for you today. We will see you next week. If we can help you with your social media, visit our website at popspeeddigital.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're also open networkers here on LinkedIn. So connect with Kylie or me, and we always offer a half hour social media audit at no charge to go through your social media and give you advice and suggestions on how you may be able to optimize for results. So that's what we've got. Take care. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.